And oh no, Bernie was respectability incarnate. Tailored suits, silver hair, warm smile, voice like an expensive lullaby. He wasn't some sketchy broker, he was the chairman of NASDAQ. He was the system. That's the first rule of great frauds. Don't look like a thief, look like the bank. Madoff built his empire in the 1960s, long before Ponzi scheme became cocktail party trivia. He ran a legitimate trading firm. Real trades, real clients, real respect. He understood markets, but more importantly, he understood people. He knew that investors aren't rational creatures. They're emotional, greedy, fearful, and easily hypnotized by confidence. Confidence, that's the currency of finance. And Bernie printed it better than the Fed. He told his clients he had a secret strategy, a mysterious formula. Something called the split strike conversion. Sounds impressive, right? It was basically financial Esperanto. Fancy enough that no one wanted to admit they didn't understand it. But the results, the results were immaculate. Year after year, Bernie delivered steady returns. Not wild, not flashy, just perfect. Around 10–12% annually. Never too high to raise suspicion. Never too low to disappoint. Just that sweet middle ground of believability. While the market rose and fell, his line on the chart went straight up. Smooth as silk, unbothered by recessions, wars, or reality. Now, if you know finance, you know that's impossible. Markets are chaos. Anyone who says they never lose money is either a liar or a god. And Bernie, he was neither. He was something better, a storyteller. He didn't trade stocks, he traded belief. His investors weren't just clients, they were disciples. Wealthy families, celebrities, charities, universities, hedge fund managers, all kneeling at the altar of Madoff. He made them feel special, exclusive, like they were in on a secret that the rest of Wall Street was too dumb to see. You couldn't just join Bernie's fund. Oh no, you had to be invited. That's the trick, scarcity. People trust what's hard to get. They lined up, begging to hand him their millions. He turned away investors just to make them want him more. Genius. And what did he do with their money? Well, nothing. That's the beauty of it. He wasn't investing, he was recycling. When new investors came in, he used their deposits to pay returns to old ones. Classic Ponzi scheme. The financial equivalent of robbing Peter to pay Paul, except Peter and Paul were billionaires, and Bernie had a yacht. It should have collapsed in months. But it didn't. Because Bernie understood one simple truth. In good times, people don't ask questions. The 80s and 90s were booming. Wall Street was cocaine and champagne. Nobody wanted to ruin the buzz by checking the math. The SEC, the watchdogs, got complaints for years. Analysts literally sent them spreadsheets saying, "This is impossible." And the regulator said, that's odd, and went back to lunch. Why? Because Madoff looked like them. He was respectable. He donated to charities, schmoozed politicians, hosted fundraisers. He was part of the tribe. And in finance, reputation is camouflage. His office looked legitimate. He even had 2 floors, one for the real trading firm, one for the fake fund. Upstairs, normal business, blinking monitors, actual trades. Downstairs, an alternate universe where reality was optional. Old IBM computers printed fake trade confirmations. Fake statements were mailed to clients, showing fake profits. And everyone believed it, because everyone wanted to believe. Every month, investors got crisp account statements showing growth. Every year, they bragged at cocktail parties about Bernie's genius. And Bernie just smiled, sipping his wine, watching the cult grow. By the 2000s, his scam had ballooned to $65 billion on paper. Not just rich people, entire funds of funds had given him billions. Banks in Europe, charities, even Holocaust survivor foundations. The irony, I know. And then came 2008, my favorite year, the year the music stopped. The global financial crisis hit, markets tanked, investors panicked. Suddenly, everyone wanted their money back. Redemptions poured in billions of dollars in withdrawal requests. And that's when Bernie's magic trick fell apart. You see, a Ponzi scheme works only as long as new money flows in. Once the flow reverses, the illusion collapses. There was no money, no trades, no profits, just a black hole filled with IOUs and printer ink. On December 10th, 2008, Bernie confessed first to his sons. He told them, "It's all one big lie." They called the FBI. The next morning, agents knocked on his door, and Bernie, calm as ever, opened it and said, "I don't have much time left." He knew the show was over. When they asked how big the fraud was, he said, "About $50 billion. Later, we found out it was closer to $65 billion, one of the biggest financial crimes in history. The world was stunned. People cried on TV. Fortunes evaporated overnight. Charities collapsed. And everyone asked, how could this happen? Simple. Because people wanted the dream more than the truth. Madoff didn't steal money with guns or threats. He stole it with trust. He didn't break into vaults, he was handed the keys. He understood that the easiest person to scam is the one who thinks he's too smart to be scammed. And the best part? Some of the biggest victims were the richest people on earth. Celebrities, hedge fund billionaires, financial professionals, they all fell for it. Because when someone whispers, "I can give you steady profits, no matter what," greed drowns out reason. When Bernie was arrested, the system acted shocked, as if no one could have imagined such deceit. Please, Wall Street lives on deceit. He just made it personal. He didn't invent the scam. He industrialized it. Now, let's be clear, Bernie wasn't Robin Hood. He didn't steal from the rich to give to the poor. He stole from the rich to stay rich. The man had multiple mansions, yachts, designer watches. His wife, Ruth, decorated her life in luxury. And when it all burned down, she claimed she knew nothing. Of course she didn't. Denial is the most valuable asset in any household portfolio. Bernie pleaded guilty in 2009. 11 felonies, 150 years in prison. He died there in 2021 quietly, after a lifetime of noise. But his legend? Immortal. Because Bernie Madoff wasn't just a man, he was a mirror. He showed us what finance really is. A confidence game. A con, but with better suits. Think about it. The stock market itself is a collective illusion. Numbers rise because people believe they should. Confidence collapses, and the illusion shatters. Madoff just skipped the trading part and went straight to belief. He turned faith into currency. And for decades, it worked. You might think he was a monster. Maybe he was. But he also proved something profound. In a world built on greed, truth is optional. The SEC ignored warnings for years. Harry Markopoulos, the whistleblower, practically screamed, "This is a fraud." He handed them evidence on a silver platter. They shrugged. They didn't want to believe that one of their own golden boys was a crook. That's the second rule of great frauds. People see what they want to see, and institutions protect their own. Bernie's clients begged to believe. The regulators pretended to supervise, and the entire financial system quietly benefited from his illusion. Everyone was complicit until they weren't. And when it all fell apart, they called it a tragedy. No, it was a masterpiece. A symphony of greed, played in perfect harmony. And what did we, the banking world, learn from it? Nothing. We nodded solemnly, held hearings, passed laws, and went right back to inventing new ways to sell confidence. The Madoff scandal didn't kill trust, it commodified it. After him, Investors didn't stop chasing guaranteed returns, they just wanted better paperwork. Bernie's clients got back some of their money through clawbacks and lawsuits. But the real damage wasn't the money, it was the faith. People realized that even the most respected names can be rotten to the core. That's terrifying. Unless you're me. Because fear breeds dependency. When people stop trusting individuals, they trust institutions. And who runs the institutions? Exactly. Bernie Madoff is gone, but his spirit lives on. Every new can't lose investment. Every influencer selling guaranteed profits. Every shiny fintech promising stability, that's his legacy. He didn't destroy trust. He franchised it. In the end, his greatest victim wasn't his clients. It was faith itself. Faith in markets. In oversight. In the idea that someone, somewhere, is actually in control. Spoiler, they're not. So next time you hear about record returns or unprecedented consistency, smile. You're hearing an echo of Bernie. He proved that belief is stronger than math. That people will ignore every red flag if the story feels good enough. And that the world doesn't want truth, it wants comfort with a signature at the bottom. The $65 billion scam wasn't just his doing. It was a collective hallucination, sponsored by greed, sustained by ego, and destroyed by panic. And for that, I tip my hat to him. Bernie Madoff, patron saint of deception, professor emeritus of confidence, and a reminder that in the grand casino of finance, the house doesn't always win sometimes. It's just one man with a deck of mirrors. So here's to you, Bernie. You didn't just make off with their money, you made off with their trust. And trust, my dear listener, is worth far more than $65 billion. Cheers.